Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Monday, May 7th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's Stanley Cup playoff and NBA playoff action and look ahead to tonight's action in both of those sports. Go over yesterday in Major League Baseball, look ahead to tonight's games. I'll do my power rankings, pick my players of the week, go over my 2013 NFL ReDraft, and a couple breaking news stories in the NBA and in baseball. All right, we'll start with hockey today. The Lightning defeated the Bruins 3-1 to close out the series in 5 games as the Lightning are off to their third Eastern Conference final in 4 years. First period, the Bruins actually got on the board first. David Krejci's third of the playoffs on the power play, assisted by Charlie McAvoy and Patrice Bergeron, 1-0 Bruins. Second period, the Lightning take over. Braden Point's fourth of the playoffs, 1-1. JT Miller's second of the playoffs on the power play, assisted by Nikita Kucherov and Steven Stamkos, 2-1 Bolts. Third period, Anton Stralman into the empty net, assisted by Victor Hedman, 3-1 Lightning is your final. Good for the Lightning. They deserve this. Andrei Vasilevsky was awesome. 27 saves on 28 shots. Tuukka Rask, 19 saves on 21 shots. The Golden Knights defeated the Sharks 3-0 to win the series in 6 games. This story of the Golden Knights is just incredible. Jonathan Marchessault's fourth of the playoffs, assisted by Riley Smith and William Karlsson, went to Vegas. Later in the second period, Nate Schmidt's second of the playoffs, assisted by Eric Holla and David Perron, 2-0 Vegas. Third period, Cody Eakin, third of the playoffs, into the empty net, assisted by Ryan Carpenter and Nate Schmidt. 3-0 Golden Knights was your final. Marc-Andre Fleury was outstanding. He's one of the favorites for the Conn Smythe Trophy, in my opinion. Although he didn't have that great of a series, but he was great last night. 28 saves on 28 shots. Martin Jones was good too. He kept the Sharks in the game. 30 saves on 32 shots. Tonight, 2 Game 6s. Capitals Penguins, 7 o'clock, NBCSN, Doc Emmerich, Mike Mulberry, Pierre Maguire on the call. Will the Capitals finally break through? Or does Pittsburgh force a Game 7? Well, Pittsburgh's home, so I'm going to say they force a Game 7. Well, Pittsburgh's home, I'm going to say they force a Game 7. Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, they'll lead the way. Give me 4-2 Penguins, with the last goal being an empty netter. And I think Matt Murray will show up as well. Predators-Jets, 9:30, NBCSN. Chris Cuthbert, AJ Malesko, Brian Boucher on the call. This has been an interesting series. Pekka Rinne has been terrible. Even though he's the favorite for the Vezina Trophy, he's just been atrocious in this series, in my opinion. Connor Hellebuck's been great. And he's been great in these playoffs as well. And he's a Vezina finalist as well. Give me the Jets to close out the Predators. I can't believe I'm doing this because I thought the Predators were going to win the Stanley Cup. I don't think that anymore. I think the Jets are bound to hit the Stanley Cup final unless they lose this game tonight. So give me the Winnipeg Jets 3-2 in overtime on the goal by Patrick Laine to win it. So my picks for tonight are Pittsburgh and Winnipeg. NBA, yesterday, the Warriors defeated the Pelicans 118-92 to take a 3-1 series lead. Kevin Durant was brilliant, 38 points, 9 rebounds in the win. Anthony Davis put up 26 points and 12 rebounds in defeat, and Davis shot 8 for 22, so that's not a great game for Davis as the Pelicans are on the brink of elimination. The Rockets defeated the Jazz 187 to build a 3-1 series lead. Another impressive win for Houston. Chris Paul put up 27 points and 6 assists in the win. Donovan Mitchell put up 25 points in defeat, although he shot 8 for 24. This is sad that Utah lost these 2 home games because I thought they were going to make this a series, but they've disappointed at home. And give the Rockets credit. They're shooting well from 3. James Harden's playing well, and they're on the verge of going to the conference finals. Tonight's games. Celtics at the Sixers, 6 o'clock, TNT. Sixers facing elimination. Celtics looking for the sweep. Brian Anderson and Kevin McHale will be on the call. I think the Sixers will force a Game 5 to live to play another day. I don't feel great about this pick at all. They blew Game 3. But I think, at least for one more day, they'll live. So give me the Sixers in a close one, 100-98. I think it's going to be that close of a game. Then 8:30 on TNT, Raptors Cavaliers. This one's going to be Ian Eagle and Brent Berry on the call. I think the Cavs pull off the sweep. They've just been lucky in this series. I don't want to say that they're the better team because I just think the Raptors are a pretty good team. The Raptors just can't close out these games, and LeBron James has been the best player in the series, and that's the sole reason why I took the Cavaliers in this series. I thought the Raptors would win at least 2 home games, but I was wrong. I think the Cavs are pulling off the sweep. So give me the Cavaliers in a 10-point win. Let's say 110-100 to close out the Raptors, as I think it'll be a close game in the fourth quarter, and LeBron James will put it away late. All right, Major League Baseball. Couple interesting results. The Yankees defeated the Indians 7-4 as they improved to 24-10. Cleveland drops to 17-17. Chasen Tree with the win. Cody Allen with the loss. Top of the 8th. Yes, I did just say top of the 8th. There was a dual no-hitter going with Mike Clevenger and Domingo Germán. Germán was pulled after 6th, and Dellin Betances came in the 7th, and the no-hitter was broken up in the top of the 8th. And Clevenger's no-hitter was broken up in the bottom of the 5th on a single by Aaron Hicks. So, yeah, top of the 8th, RBI single Tyler Naquin, 1-0 Indians. RBI double Francisco Lindor, 2-0 Indians. Pass ball, Gary Sanchez scores in Tyler Naquin, 3-0 Indians. Sacrifice fly, Jason Kipnis, 4-0 Indians. Bottom of the 8th, RBI single, Brett Gardner, 4-1. RBI double, Aaron Judge at drove in 2, 4-3. Bottom of the 9th, the big RBI double by Neil Walker makes it 4-4. And Gleyber Torres with the walk-off home run, 3-run shot, 7-4 final. Germán was just brilliant in the absence of Jordan Montgomery. He deserves this 5th rotation spot while Montgomery's out. 6 innings, no hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts leaves the game with a 2.66 ERA. Mike Clevenger, 7 1/3 innings, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, and 10 strikeouts leaves the game with a 2.76 ERA. The Rockies defeat the Mets 3-2 as they improve to 20-15. The Mets drop to 17-15. Kyle Freeland with the win, Hensel Robles with the loss, Adam Ottavino with the save. Bottom of the 1st, RBI singles, Durval Cabrera, 1-0 Mets. Sacrifice fly, Todd Frazier, 2-0 Mets. Top of the 2nd, home run Ian Desmond, 2-1. Bases loaded walk, Gerardo Parra, 2-2. Top of the 8th, home run Ian Desmond, 3-2. That was your final. Kyle Freeland pitched well, 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.95 ERA. Noah Syndergaard was good too. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.09 ERA. The Blue Jays defeated the Reds 2-1 as they improved to 19-16. Tampa drops to 15-17. Ryan Tepera with the win. Alex Colon with the loss. Roberto Osuna with the save. Top of the 5th, infield single with Lemis Diaz, 1-0 Toronto. Bottom of the 8th, home run Carlos Gomez, 1-1. Top of the 9th, Kevin Pillar scored on a wild pitch by Alex Colon that made it 2-1. That was your final. Marco Estrada pitched well, 6 innings, 4 hits, 4 walks, though, but 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.21 ERA. Chris Archer, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, and 6 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.32 ERA, so a quality start for Archer there. The Giants defeated the Braves 4-3 as they complete the sweep and improve to 19-15. Atlanta drops to 19-14. Andrew Suarez with the win. Mike Soroka with the loss. Hunter Strickland with the save. Bottom of the 1st, infield single. Tyler Flowers, 1-0 Braves. Top of the 3rd, RBI single. Nick Hundley, 1-1. RBI single. Pablo Sandoval, 2-1. Top of the 4th, fielder's choice. Gregor Blanco, 3-1. Sacrifice fly. Andrew McCutchen, 4-1. Bottom of the 9th, RBI double. Kurt Suzuki, 4-2. RBI ground out. Ender Inciarte, 4-3. That was your final. Andrew Suarez, 5 1/3 innings, 7 hits, and a walk, and 6 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.06 ERA. Mike Soroka wasn't as good as he was in his first start. 4 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.5 ERA. The Nationals defeated the Phillies 5-4 as they improve to 18-17. Philly drops to 18-15. Sean Doolittle with the win. Hector Neris with the loss. Bottom of the second, home run Matt Adams, 1-0 Nats. Top of the seventh, RBI single, Nick Williams, 1-1. RBI double, Rhys Hoskins, 2-1. Phils, RBI single, Abdul Herrera, 3-1. Top of the eighth, home run Maikel Franco, 4-1. Here come the Nationals. Bottom of the eighth, 2-run single, Anthony Rendon, 4-3. Bottom ninth, bases loaded walk, Pedro Severino, 4-4. And the walk-off single by Wilmer Difo gave the Nationals a 5-4 win. Max Scherzer, look at this line. 6 1/3 innings, 5 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, and 15 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.74 ERA. Jake Arrieta was really good too. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.15 ERA. The Twins defeated the White Sox 4-3 as they improved to 13-17. The White Sox dropped to 9-23. Zach Duke with the win. Bruce Rendon with the loss. Fernando Rodney with the save. James Shields actually had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning, but the bullpen fell apart for the White Sox, and the Twins took advantage. Bottom of the third, Adam Engel scores on the wild pitch by Kyle Gibson, 1-0 White Sox. Bottom of the sixth, sacrifice by Matt Davidson, 2-0 White Sox. Top of the seventh, RBI single. Eddie Rosario made it 2-1. RBI double, Logan Marson that drove in 2. 3-2 Twins. Bottom of the seventh, RBI single, Leary Garcia, 3-3. Top of the eighth, RBI ground out, Max Kepler, 4-3 Twins. Top of the ninth, home run, Eddie Rosario, 5-3 Twins. That was your final. Kyle Gibson, 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.49 ERA. James Shields, 6 2/3 innings, 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.14 ERA. The Pirates defeated the Brewers 9-0 as they improved to 19-16. Milwaukee drops to 20-15. Chad Cole with the win. Chase Anderson with the loss. Top of the first, home run Adam Frazier, 1-0 Pirates. RBI double, Corey Dickerson, 2-0 Pirates. Top of the second, home run Jordy Mercer, 3-0 Pirates. Top of the sixth, this is where the Pirates really broke this thing open. RBI single, Corey Dickerson, 4-0. Infield single, Colin Moran, 5-0. RBI single, Jordy Mercer, 6-0. Bunt single, Chad Cole, 7-0 Pirates. Top of the seventh, home run Josh Bell, 8-0 Pirates. Top of the eighth, sacrifice fly, Gregory Polanco, 9-0 Pirates was their final. Chad Cole was great. 7 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.12 ERA. Chase Anderson, 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.97 ERA. The Royals defeated the Tigers 4-2 as they improved to 11-23. Detroit drops to 14-19. Jacob Junis with the win. Matthew Boyd with the loss. Kelvin Herrera with the save. Bottom of the first, sacrifice fly, Mike Moustakas, 1-0 Royals. Bottom of the third, 2-run double, Mike Moustakas, 3-0 Royals. RBI single, Salvador Perez, 4-0 Royals. Top of the fourth, home run, John Hicks makes it 4-1. Top of the eighth, RBI single, John Hicks makes it 4-2. That's your final. Jacob Junis, 7 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.18 ERA. Matthew Boyd, 7 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with an ERA of 3. The Red Sox defeated the Rangers 6-1 as they improved to 25-9. Texas drops to 13-23. Chris Sale to win. Doug Fister with the loss. Top of the first, RBI double, Mitch Moreland, 1-0 Boston. Top of the third, RBI single, Xander Bogaerts, 2-0 Red Sox. Top of the sixth, 3-run home run, Sandy Leon, 5-0 Red Sox. Top of the seventh, home run, JD Martinez, 6-0 Red Sox. Bottom of the seventh, home run, Ryan Rua, 6-1. That's your final. Chris Sale, 7 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 12 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.02 ERA. Doug Fister, 6 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.02 ERA. The Padres defeated the Dodgers 3-0 in Nuevo Leon to improve to 13-22. The Dodgers dropped to 15-19. Eric Lauer with the win. Tony Cingrani with the loss. Brad Hand with the save. Bottom of the fifth, 2-run home run, Eric Hosmer, 2-0 Padres. Bottom of the seventh, RBI single, Frankie Cordero, 3-0 Padres. That was your final. Eric Lauer, 6 innings, 7 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.79 ERA. Ross Stripling, 4 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.93. ERA. The Athletics beat the Orioles 2-1 as they improved to 18-16. Baltimore drops to 8-26. Andrew Triggs with the win. Alex Cobb with the loss. Blake Trehan with the save. Top of the second, home run. Pedro Alvarez 1-0 Orioles. Bottom of the fourth, RBI ground out. Chris Davis 1-1. RBI double. Matt Olson made it 2-1. That was your final. Andrew Triggs was good. 7 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, and 9 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.41 ERA. Alex Cobb was okay. 6 innings, 5 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 7.61 ERA. The Angels defeated the Mariners 8-2 as they improve to 21-13. Seattle drops to 19-14. Shohei Ohtani with the win. Felix Hernandez with the loss. Top of the second, home run Zach Cozart, 1-0 Angels. Home run Chris Young, 2-0 Angels. Top of the sixth, RBI double Rene Rivera, 3-0 Angels. Top of the sixth, a 3-run home run by Mike Trout, 6-0 Angels. Bottom of the seventh, 2-run home run Ryan Healy, 6-2. Top of the ninth, 2-run single Rene Rivera, 8-2 Angels. That was your final. Shohei Ohtani was really good. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.1 ERA. Felix Hernandez, 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.28 ERA. The Marlins defeated the Reds 8-5 as they improved to 13-20. Cincinnati drops to 8-26. Nick Wittgren with the win. Brandon Finnegan with the loss. Brad Ziegler with the save. Top of the first, 2-run single Starlin Castro, 2-0 Marlins. RBI single Cameron Maben, 3-0 Marlins. RBI ground out Lewis Brinson, 4-0 Marlins. Top of the second, sacrifice fly Starlin Castro, 5-0 Marlins. Bottom of the third, 2-run home run Joey Votto made it 5-2. Top of the seventh, RBI double Cameron Maben, 6-2 Marlins. Bottom of the seventh, RBI double Joey Votto, 6-3. Top of the ninth, RBI single Miguel Rojas, 7-3. Top of the ninth as well, fielder's choice J.B. Shuck, 8-3. Bottom of the ninth, RBI ground out Jesse Winker, 8-4. RBI single Joey Votto made it 8-5. That was your final. Dan Straley, 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 6.75 ERA. Brandon Finnegan was not good. 3 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Leaves the game with an 8.27 ERA. The Diamondbacks defeat the Astros 3-1 as they improve to 23-11. Houston drops to 21-15. Matt Koch with the win. Justin Verlander with the loss. Brad Boxberger with the save. Top of the second, home run Alex Bregman, 1-0 Astros. Bottom of the sixth, RBI triple A.J. Pollock that drove in 2, thanks to an error by Alex Bregman. 2-1 Diamondbacks. Bottom of the eighth, RBI single A.J. Pollock, 3-1 Diamondbacks. That was your final. Matt Koch was really good. 6 1/3 innings, 6 hits, an earned run, and 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.13 ERA. Justin Verlander was good. I think his defense let him down a little bit. 6 innings, 3 hits, an earned run, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.17 ERA. In what was the best game of the night, the Cardinals defeated the Cubs 4-3 in 14 innings. The Cardinals improved to 20-12. The Cubs dropped to 16-15. Mike Myers with the win. Luke Farrell with the loss. Top of the first, sacrifice fly Anthony Rizzo, 1-0 Cubs. Bottom of the second, home run Jed Jerko, 1-1. Top of the fourth, home run Chris Bryant, 2-1 Cubs. Bottom of the sixth, RBI triple Colton Wong, 2-2. Top of the 14th, home run Javier Baez makes it 3-2 Cubs. In the bottom of the 14th, the walk-off home run, a 2-run shot, Dexter Fowler, 4-3 Cardinals for the win, for the sweep. Michael Wacha was actually good for once against the Cubs. 5 1/3 innings, 6 hits, an earned run, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.35 ERA. John Lester was good as well. 5 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.82 ERA. Not that many games tonight. Only a grand total of 7. You have the Giants at the Phillies. Jeff Samardzija and Zach Eflin. Mets Reds. P.J. Conlon against Homer Bailey. Twins Cardinals. Fernando Romero and John Grant. Tigers Rangers. Michael Fulmer and Matt Moore. Marlins Cubs. Harleen Garcia and Kyle Hendricks. Astros Athletics. Dallas Keuchel and Brett Anderson. And last but not least, Nationals Padres, you have Steven Strasburg and Tyson Ross. Now I'm going to do my power rankings that I do every week. I'm going to go from 3 to 1 because I think it's more fun that way and it builds up suspense of who the number one team is going to be. And here are the power rankings. 30 is the Cincinnati Reds. Yet again, they are number 30. They just lost 2 out of 3 to the Marlins, who, in my opinion, are the worst team in baseball on paper. And they began the week by getting swept by the Brewers at home. So not a good week for the Reds. They have a series upcoming against the Mets beginning tonight. That's a very interesting series. The Mets are in free fall. And maybe the lowly Reds take advantage, or maybe the Mets get out of their funk. And they close out the week with 4 in Los Angeles against the reeling Dodgers. So the Reds have somewhat of an opportunity in a weird way to pick up some wins with two of the free-falling teams in the National League. Number 29 is the Baltimore Orioles, who are 8-26 right now. They began the week by getting swept. Not just swept, but destroyed by the Los Angeles Angels. And they closed out the week by getting swept by the Athletics. So they've lost 6 in a row. They begin the week with 3 at home against the Royals. Maybe they pick them off 2 out of 3. They're off today. And they close out the week with 4 against the Tampa Bay Rays with a doubleheader on Saturday. So maybe the Orioles will have a winning week at home. Number 28 is the Kansas City Royals, who currently sit at 11-23. I just don't think the Royals are very good. They began the week by losing 2 out of 3 in Fenway against the Red Sox. They should have been swept, but the Red Sox were a mess in the game that the Royals had won. If the Red Sox played a cleaner game, the Red Sox win that game. And they closed out the week by actually winning 3 out of 4 against the Tigers. But the Tigers aren't very good. Tomorrow they begin a 3-game set in Baltimore against the Orioles. And they close out the week at Cleveland. Don't rule out all losses there, but I doubt it because the Orioles are playing awful of late. So that might be a 3-3 week for the Royals. If they can win 2 in Baltimore and actually be competitive and win a game in Cleveland. 27 is the Chicago White Sox, who are actually 9-23. I have the White Sox ahead of the Royals because the White Sox just own the Royals, in my opinion. They began the week by getting swept in St. Louis, and they closed out the week by losing 3 out of 4 against the Twins. This week, they're hosting Pittsburgh for 2, and they close out the week in Wrigley Field against the Cubs. So that's going to be a fun week for the White Sox, especially over the weekend when they play the Cubs. And the Cubs have to get right a little bit. I'll get to them in a little bit. So I wouldn't rule out a winning week for the White Sox here. Number 26 is the Miami Marlins, who currently sit at 13-20. They're playing hard. I have to give Don Mattingly credit. They're playing hard. There's no pressure on them, and they're just defying the odds. I would have been shocked if somebody told me that the Marlins were 13-20, 37 or 33 games into the season, but here they are, only 7 games under 500. They began the week by winning 2 out of 3 against the Phillies, and they closed out the week by winning 2 out of 3 against the Reds, so they just took advantage of a mediocre team at home, or you could consider the Phillies good, but a goodish, mediocre team at home, and a bad team in their own ballpark that happens to have the worst record in baseball, that is the Reds, and the Marlins took advantage of that. A little challenging for the Marlins this week, as tonight they begin a 3-game set in Chicago and Wrigley Field against the Cubs. And they close out the week with 4 games against the upstart Atlanta Braves at home. If they do better than 3-4 in this, I'd be shocked. 25 is the Texas Rangers, who currently sit in last place in the AL West at 13-23. They began the week by losing 2 out of 3 in Cleveland against the Indians. They should have been swept because Cleveland came back in that one game to make it 6-6 on the Michael Brantley grand slam. But give the Rangers credit, they rebounded and won that game, so they easily could have been swept by the Indians. So they lose 2 out of 3 in that series. And then over the weekend, they lost 3 out of 4 against the Red Sox. This week, they host the Tigers for 3, off day Thursday, and then they're at Houston against their arch rival Astros. Honestly, I won't be shocked if the Rangers go 3-3 here. They tend to play Houston well, and the Tigers are one of the worst teams in baseball, so they should take advantage of them at home. Number 24 is the San Diego Padres, who are 13-22, who play hard for the most part, but really aren't the best team, but they aren't atrocious either. They started the week losing 2 out of 3 against the Giants. They could have easily won the game on Monday, but they didn't. And they could have lost on Tuesday, so that could have been a sweep, or it could have been 2 out of 3, but they lost 2 out of 3 instead. And over the weekend, they won 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers in Nuevo Leon. They begin the week, starting tonight, hosting the Nationals. And they close out the week hosting the St. Louis Cardinals for 4. If they do better than 3-4, that should be good for the Padres. Number 23 is the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are 15-19 and are a mess right now. Clayton Kershaw is just put on the disabled list with back comforts. We'll see how long he's out for. So that's something that's worth monitoring. And there was another big National League West injury. I'll get to that when I reach that specific team in the power rankings. The Dodgers began the week getting a split with the Diamondbacks, which I think is pretty good. And they closed out the week by losing 2 out of 3 in Nuevo Leon to the Padres. They're off today and they begin the week with 2 games set at home against the Diamondbacks. And then they host the Reds for 4. I wouldn't rule out 5-1 there because I think the Reds are atrocious. So 5-1 is a distinct possibility. The Dodgers would be fine with 4-2 there, but if they go worse than 4-2, that's a disappointment. 22 is the Tampa Bay Rays, who are in 4th place in the American League East at 15-17. This team plays hard. They're getting a lot out of mediocre players or below average players, and Kevin Cash deserves credit for that. They began the week losing 2 out of 3 to the Tigers, and they closed out the week by winning 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays. So that was a good series win to close out the week for Tampa Bay. They begin the week hosting the Braves for 2 beginning tomorrow, and they close out the week in Baltimore for 4 with a doubleheader on Saturday. That looks like 3-3 to me. If they do better than 3-3, that's really good for Tampa Bay. 21 is the Detroit Tigers, who currently sit at 14-19 in the American League Central. They began the week winning 2 out of 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays at home, and they closed out the week by losing 3 out of 4 in Kansas City against the Royals. Starting tonight, they're in Texas against the Rangers, and they're off on Thursday, and they close out the week at home against the Mariners. I won't rule out 3-3 there. But if they do better than that, that's good for them. Number 20 is the Minnesota Twins, who currently sit 13-17 in the American League Central. They began the week by losing 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays, and they closed out the week by winning 3 out of 4 against the White Sox in Chicago. So they're getting right a little bit. A tough series coming up beginning tonight at the Cardinals for 2, and they close out the week at LA for 4. That's going to be a very interesting couple games for the Twins. If they do worse than 3-3, that's disappointing. Number 19 is the free-falling New York Mets, who are in 3rd place in the National League East, 17-15. They've lost 6 straight games. Swept by the Braves, swept by the Rockies, all at home. They begin tonight, 3-game set at Cincinnati, and they close out the week at Philadelphia for 3. They have to go better than 3-3 in this, or else that hot start is totally a fluke. And Matt Harvey was designated for assignment by the Mets, and there's reports that the Rangers are interested in Harvey. That would be an interesting landing spot for him because the Rangers don't have that much pitching. And although Arlington is a ballpark that yields home runs to right field, we'll see how that would play out if he were to go to Texas. Number 18 is the Cleveland Indians. A very disappointing weekend for them as they were swept by the Yankees. They're 17-17, but still in first place in that division. That division's easily the worst one in baseball. They began the week by winning 2 out of 3 against the Rangers. They split the doubleheader with Toronto, and then they got swept by the Yankees. This week, they're at the Brewers for 2, beginning tomorrow. They close out the week by hosting the Royals for 3. They have to go better than 2-3 there. They have to go 3-2 or better. Number 17 is the team that the Indians faced in the World Series 2 years ago, and now it's the Chicago Cubs, who currently sit at 16-15 in the National League Central. They're in 4th place right now, which is hard to believe. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Rockies and then got swept by the Cardinals. They've lost 5 straight games. Beginning tonight, they have a quote-unquote get-right series against the woeful Miami Marlins, and they close out the week at home against the Chicago White Sox. I won't be flabbergasted if this is 6-0 because the White Sox have been pretty bad. But if they go 4-2 here, I think they'd be okay. But if they go worse than that, I think that's disappointing, considering they're superiorly better than the White Sox and the Marlins. Number 16 is the Oakland Athletics, who currently sit in 4th place in the American League West at 18-16. They are coming off a solid week. They lost 2 out of 3 in Seattle against the Mariners, and they close out the week by sweeping the Orioles. An interesting week lies ahead for Oakland as starting tonight they host Houston for 3, off day Thursday. Then they travel to the East Coast to the Bronx to face the Yankees. This is looking really, really hard for Oakland. If they go better than 2-4 here, they have to be impressed. Number 15 is the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are 19-16 in 3rd place in the National League Central. They got swept by the Nationals, but the Nationals are just better than them. And they closed out the week by winning 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee against the Brewers. This week, they're at the White Sox for 2 beginning tomorrow, and they close out the week hosting the Giants for 3. If they go 3-2 or better there, they should be okay. Number 14 is the Toronto Blue Jays, who currently sit in 3rd place in the American League East at 19-16. They had an interesting week. They swept the Twins in Minnesota. They split the doubleheader on Thursday with the Indians. And they lost 2 out of 3 against Tampa Bay. Beginning tomorrow, they host the Mariners, and over the weekend, they host the Boston Red Sox. 3-3 or better, and the Blue Jays should be in good shape. Number 13 is the Philadelphia Phillies, who currently sit 18-15 in 2nd place in the National League East. They had a disappointing week, in my opinion. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Marlins, and they closed out the week by losing 2 out of 3 against the Nationals. They should have won yesterday, but their bullpen blew that lead, or else they would have won 2 out of 3 in Washington. This week is interesting for them. Beginning tonight, they host the Giants for 4, and over the weekend, they host the Mets for 3. So all home games, they have to go better than 3-4 there to consider themselves for real. Number 12 is the Washington Nationals, who currently sit at 18-17 in 4th place in the National League East. They are probably underranked in my opinion, but here they are at number 12. They swept the Pirates, and they won 2 out of 3 against the Phillies. It's probably because the record's still 18-17, and that's mediocre. And I don't think the Pirates are very good. So maybe that's why they're at number 12. But this is going to be an interesting West Coast trip for the Nationals as they begin tonight at San Diego. And they close out the week at the Diamondbacks for 4. 4-3 or better should be fine for them. Number 11 is the Seattle Mariners, who currently sit in third place in the American League West at 19-14. They began the week by winning 2 out of 3 against the Oakland Athletics, and they closed out the week by losing 2 out of 3 to the Angels. Interesting East Coast trip for them, approaching, beginning tomorrow at Toronto and then over the weekend at Detroit. So if they go 3-3 there, they should be okay. Number 10, the surprising San Francisco Giants, 19-15 on the season. I'm giving them a lot of credit. It was a really impressive week for them. 2 out of 3 against the Padres at home. But I really was impressed by how they handled the Braves over the weekend. They swept them. And the Braves are going into that series playing really well. And the Giants just swept them in Atlanta. And beginning tonight, they have an interesting 4-game series in Philadelphia against the Phillies. Then they close out the week at Pittsburgh for 3. If they go 4-3 or better, then you got to start taking the Giants a little bit more seriously. But before I move on, Johnny Cueto is on the disabled list. He's out for 6 weeks with a shoulder problem. So if they can survive without Cueto, then boy, maybe this team is better than we expected. Number 9, the Colorado Rockies, who currently sit in second place in the National League West at 20-15. They had a pretty good week, winning 2 out of 3 in Wrigley Field against the Cubs, and they swept the Mets, which was impressive in Citi Field despite all the Mets issues. Got to give the Rockies credit. Off day today, a much-earned off day. Tomorrow and Wednesday, they host the Angels, and they close out the week with the 4-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers. I won't entirely rule out 6-0 here, but at the same time, I won't rule out 3-3. If they go worse than 3-3, then that's concerning. Number 8 is the Milwaukee Brewers, who currently sit in second place in the NL Central at 20-15. They swept the Reds, and they closed out the week by losing 2 out of 3 at home to the Pirates. Off today, they host the Indians for 2, and then a 4-game set at Colorado. 3-3 or better for them should be okay. Number 7 is the Atlanta Braves, who are in first place in the National League East with a record of 19-14. They had a pretty good week until the weekend. They swept the Mets and got swept by the Giants, so they had a good start to the week, but a disappointing finish to the weekend. So, beginning tomorrow, 2 games at Tampa Bay, and they close out the week with 4 games in Miami. They have to go better than 3-3 there. Those are 2 of the worst teams in baseball. The Braves are better than those 2 teams. So, the Braves have to be winners in Florida this week. Number 6 is the Houston Astros, who are currently in second place in the AL West at 21-15. They had an interesting week, but disappointing. They lost 3 out of 4 against the Yankees, and they could have easily won 3 out of 4, but they lost 3 out of 4, courtesy to their bullpen and some poor decision-making by A.J. Hinch. And they closed out the weekend by losing 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks, but that's okay. That was on the road. The Diamondbacks are playing really well. But that Yankees series was a disappointing one for them, even though the Yankees are just red hot right now. I'll get to them in a little while on the podcast. They begin the week starting tonight with 3 at the Athletics, then an off day Thursday, and then they host the Rangers for 3. They have to go better than 3-3 there. Oakland's actually playing really well, and the Rangers actually play well against the Astros, so that should be an interesting week for Houston. Number 5 is the St. Louis Cardinals, who are 20-12, first place in the National League Central. coming off a sweep of the Cubs. That was really impressive, especially how they did it on Saturday and Sunday. And they swept the White Sox as well. So they're winners of 5 in a row. They deserve to be in the top 5 of the power rankings this week. They begin the week starting tonight against the Twins for 2. And I forgot to pick that game. That was an ESPN game. I'm going to take the Twins here to end the Cardinals' winning streak. The Cardinals have had a long weekend, even though they were wins. I think their bullpen's going to be tired. I'm going to say 6-5 Twins your final as the bullpen blows it for the Cardinals, as they'll just be gassed out. And so 2 against the Twins, off day Wednesday. Then they travel to San Diego for 4. And if they can get a split with both the Twins and the Padres, I think they would be okay, considering the state of their division. Although I won't be shocked if the Cubs catch up to them at some point, or even the Brewers for that matter. Number 4 is the Angels of Anaheim, 21-13, first place in the American League West. They had a pretty good week, in my opinion. They began the week by sweeping the Orioles, and they followed that up by winning 2 out of 3 against the Mariners. So that all adds up to a solid week. They could have been on a 6-game winning streak right now, but the Angels blew Saturday night's game in extra innings, so that's okay. That was on the road against the Mariners. Mariners are playing well as well, but give the Angels credit. 5 out of 6 wins, so that's pretty good. Off day today, and they begin a 2-game set with the Rockies tomorrow, and they close out the week with 4 at home against the Twins. Friday night's game. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Thursday night's game is on FS1. I'll pick that game on Thursday night's podcast. Number 3. The Arizona Diamondbacks, who are in first place in the National League West at 23-11. They're playing really, really well right now. I think they're getting overshadowed by the top 2 teams on my list. I'll get to them in a second. And they're also being overshadowed because of the futility of the Dodgers and the Mets collapse in that conference and the really good play of the Cardinals. I just think the Diamondbacks are being overlooked right now. They began the week with the split with the Dodgers, and they won 2 out of 3 against the Astros. That adds up to a solid week for them. They are off today, and they have 2 games at the Dodgers tomorrow and Wednesday, and they close out the week with 4 at home against the Washington Nationals. Saturday's game's on FS1, and then Sunday night's game is on ESPN. So it should be an interesting week for the Diamondbacks. If they go 4-2 or better, that's very impressive. Number 2, the Boston Red Sox, who currently sit in first place in the American League East and have the best record in baseball at 25-9. They going to be a very interesting week for the Red Sox. I'll get to their previous week. They won 2 out of 3 against the Kansas City Royals. They should have swept the Royals, to be quite frank. And they won 3 out of 4 against the Rangers in Texas. That was pretty impressive. Although they nearly could have lost on Saturday, but give them credit, they came back and won. A very interesting week for the Red Sox coming up. Off day today, and then tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night in the Bronx against the Yankees, the 2 best teams in baseball right now. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great series. Tomorrow night's game's on MLB Network as well as Thursday night's game. Wednesday night's game I'll pick because it's an ESPN game. It's going to be a great series in the Bronx, and I'll get to the Yankees in a little bit. And they close out the week with 3 in Toronto against the Blue Jays. Number 1, it's obvious. The New York Yankees, 24-10 on the year. Winners of 6 straight games. And get this, they could easily right now be on a 16-game winning streak. But no, they're on a 6-game winning streak. They lost that game Monday to Houston, in which Charlie Morton pitched brilliantly. But that's okay. they still had a phenomenal week, winning 3 out of 4 in Houston against the Astros. They could have easily lost 2 of those Houston games. And then they won 2 out of and then they pulled off a very impressive sweep of the Cleveland Indians. They could have easily lost yesterday. They could have easily lost on Friday. But give the Yankees credit, they found ways to win. And that's what great teams do, even when they don't play their best. And they were sloppy on Saturday, as well as Cleveland. But, hey, they swept Cleveland. They deserve a lot of credit for this run that they're on. And they have a big-time series coming up beginning tomorrow against the Red Sox, which I just discussed. This is going to be so much fun. And they close out the week by hosting the Athletics for 3. I won't be shocked if we're talking about the Yankees winning 12 straight games on next week's podcast. Do I think that'll be the case? No. If the Yankees go worse than 4-2 in this 6-game home stretch, that's a disappointment. So 4-2 are better for the Yankees, and they should be okay. Players of the week, American League, Mookie Betts of the Boston Red Sox. He was just brilliant this week. He had a 3-homer game against the Royals. He had a couple more dingers against the Rangers in Arlington. So Betts is the easy winner in the American League. The National League came down between 2 guys on the same team, Matt Adams and Bryce Harper. The pick is Matt Adams. He's been a great pickup for the Nats as a guy that can either come off the bench or start for them, giving them a lot of power. And there's a couple teams out there that could have used Matt Adams, like even the Yankees, who, although Neil Walker's picked it up a little bit of late, Matt Adams on the Yankees would have been a fun pickup. Adams could have been a good fit on Houston. He could have fit on the Dodgers, considering all their issues. He would have been a great addition on the Mets. He would have been great on Atlanta if he stuck there. But give Mike Rizzo credit. He found another great pickup in Matt Adams. Last thing I'm going to do before I go is the 2013 NFL ReDraft. I'm just going to do the teams and the players and a brief little discussion on what could have been. So, here we go. 2013 NFL ReDrafts. Number 1, Chiefs, Le'Veon Bell. Oh my God, could you imagine Bell in that Chiefs offense? That would have been a great fit. Number 2, Jaguars, Lane Johnson. Great offensive tackle for the Eagles. He would have fit nicely on Jacksonville. 3, Dolphins, Travis Frederick, who's an underrated center in the league. A big part of Dallas's success over the last couple seasons. 4, Eagles, DeAndre Hopkins. He would have been Carson Wentz's number 1 receiver. 5, Lions, Keenan Allen. He would have been a great fit in Matt Stafford's offense. 6, Browns, Zach Ertz, a really good tight end. 7, Cardinals, Tyrann Mathieu. Funny how things work out. He wasn't their first-round pick, but Mathieu was a great player for the Cardinals before he got released. 8, Rams, Travis Kelce. Imagine Kelce in that offense. 9, Jets, Xavier Rhodes. He'd be a nice fit in that young secondary. 10, Titans, Ziggy Ansah, who's emerged as one of the better and underrated pass rushers in the NFL over the last couple seasons. 11, Chargers, Kyle Long, who would be a great asset for Phil Rivers. 12, Raiders, David Bakhtiari, who is one of the more underrated O-linemen. Great job protecting Aaron Rodgers the last couple years. 13, Jets, Justin Pugh, who's a pretty good offensive lineman on the Giants the last couple years. He would have been a good fit on the Jets. 14, Panthers, Desmond Trufant, who would have been a solid fit in that secondary. 15, Saints, Micah Hyde, who was great on the Packers and then signed with the Bills as a free agent. Hyde would have been a nice fit in that secondary. 16, Bills, Jordan Reed, who was one of the more underrated tight ends in the league, although he's been injury-prone lately. 17, Steelers, Kawan Short, who would have been a great fit on that defensive line. 49ers, Darius Slay, who would have been a nice fit in that secondary. 19, Giants, Alec Ogletree. Funny how things circle around. He's now currently a member of the Giants after the Rams traded him away. And Ogletree is one of the more steadier linebackers in the league, although he had a disappointing year last year. 20, Bears, Larry Warford, who was turned into a Pro Bowler with the Saints and With Kyle Long off the board, they go with Warford, who is another good offensive lineman. 21, Bengals, Robert Woods. He'd be a nice weapon for Andy Dalton. 22, Falcons, Tyler Eifert. Oh, imagine him in that offense. 23, Vikings, Latavius Murray. Again, funny how things work out. Murray was a steal by the Raiders in one of the later rounds of the draft, and then signs with the Vikings in free agency. And Murray was a big part of the Vikings' success last year. 24, Colts, Chris Thompson, who's been a solid running back with the Redskins the last couple of years before injuries took his toll. 25, Vikings, Giovanni Bernard, another good young running back that is solid. 26, Packers, Rex Burkhead, who's another pounder back, would have been a good fit with Aaron Rodgers. 27, Houston Texans, Jamie Collins. Collins has been up and down, but he would have been a solid fit in that Texans defense. 28, Broncos, Monte Teo. Teo was okay with the Chargers, and he was pretty solid with New Orleans last year. He'd be a good fit in the Broncos defense. 29, Vikings, Theo Riddick. It's funny that I have all running backs to the Vikings. That's just funny. And that would have been a fun little three-headed monster with Murray, Bernard, and Riddick. Rams, Kyle Juszczyk. He was one of the more underrated fullbacks in the league. 31, Cowboys, Kiko Alonso. A little inconsistent, traded a couple times, but he's a solid player when he's healthy. 32, Ravens, Sheldon Richardson, who was a Pro Bowler with the Jets, and his off-field actions has really hurt him, and now he's getting an opportunity with the Vikings. That's it with the 2013 NFL Redraft, and that's it with the podcast for today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and going over more things. Oh, one more breaking news story that I forgot to mention. Stan Van Gundy out in Detroit. I think this was inevitable. He underachieved with the Pistons, even after trading for Blake Griffin. They lose their first-round pick, a lottery pick this year, to the Clippers. The Clippers made out really well in that trade, and that ultimately cost Stan Van Gundy his job. And I think Van Gundy is going to end up in ESPN in some capacity, whether it's on NBA Countdown or in the booth. It'd be funny if Mike Breen called a game with both Stan and Jeff in the booth one day. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.